Video. Uh, I am going to talk about uh, the national anthem thing with the NFL, and there is a lot of fear between people saying it's un-American for guys to protest national anthem because of the way people are being treated, and there has been a lot of unfair decisions as far as different decisions, uh, harsher decisions given out to persons of color versus people with white privilege. And anyone that denies white privilege, they really have to look at the way things are handled. Uh, Everything is designed to keep the people who have power in power and not give others an opportunity. And people who are white that don't have money have it better than people of color who don't have money. They're looked at differently. It's just the way this society has gone on for so many years. But in my opinion, protesting the NFL because of a national anthem, I think, is wrong. I think you have to look at the bigger picture of the way the NFL runs its operation, the way they have treated any players over the years. Football is an inherently dangerous sport. It's become more dangerous over the last 30, 40 years. When I was a child, some of the hits that were regularly dished out are no longer accepted only because of awareness brought on through studies on the effects of concussions and injuries to the brain, which these were done by people with medical backgrounds, yet the NFL refused to embrace it. And in recent years, they have done a concussion protocol for any player that was deemed to have suffered a hit that may have caused a concussion, because concussions can bring on all sorts of different things in the brain, bring on different attributes down the road. The movie Concussion was, I think, revealing for people who don't understand the things that Mike Webster went through. He was an undersized offensive lineman, and he took steroids, as well as steroids were a very common thing in the 70s. Nobody really knew what they did. There were no studies done on them, but they knew the players and teams knew that it improved performance and allowed for quicker healing. And some of these steroids were not tested. Well, on top of having brain injury and some of these steroids being harmful in the way they were being used, players, after they retired, suffered all sorts of physical problems that the NFL, in its multi-billion-dollar industry, does not address. The contracts that players have, they get no medical. They are basically based on year-to-year performance. If a team feels like it can do better by bringing in someone younger or someone who they think will have better performance, they can just cut you, and the money that you may have been making may no longer be there. And then when another team picks you up, chances are you're not going to get the same kind of money. It really is a collusion, as well as an indentured servitude. I know that players that play the game love it, and the majority of players after they retire, they do have physical ailments that they have to live with, and many of them are understood things that have gone on with from the game. But brain injury is something that is far more serious, and for the billions of dollars the NFL makes, and anything you do with the NFL, if you're affiliated with them, if you're a sponsor, you have to pay. The NFL, with the anthem thing, I get the reason for the protest, but I also don't get the people being mad. Many veterans have come out and said, that's why I went there. This is the land of the free, home of the brave, and we allow people freedom to express a difference of opinion. And Colin Kaepernick can do whatever he wants, and any other NFL player can do what they want as far as the anthem goes. To me, as long as they're not desecrating the flag, because I believe the honor and service given by people who have served in the military over the history of this country deserves that kind of respect. The anthem, I can understand somebody taking a knee, sitting down. I wouldn't do it. I'm not going to get offended by somebody who doesn't do it. I think it's wrong. But I think there are greater ways to raise awareness when you're an NFL player other than taking a knee or sitting down while the anthem is being played. And I think that if you have enough support with your peers in the NFL, you can raise that kind of awareness. But it's amazing to me that these players are willing to do this for the anthem, but they're not willing to do this for their own brethren who are suffering from the NFL's unwillingness to do more for the athletes that are suffering from putting their lives on the line in the game. And when I say putting their lives on the line, there are guys that have been paralyzed, and there are guys that have suffered traumatic brain injury, and some have even committed suicide, because there are so many things that, even with all the tremendous research that's going on with the brain, there are so many things that we do not know. And for a organization like the NFL to assume they know more than anyone else, it comes off to me like any of the presidential candidates are running for president this year. They act like they know more than the American public. They're people that have these fantastic sums of money. They're more worried about their money than worried about the people that are working for them or the people that they're serving. And I think greater care has to be taken for the individuals who do not have a voice. You know, these protests to me, they don't mean anything to me. They may mean something, protesting the way people are treated. To me, I would rather see individuals getting out there and educating someone who maybe is in the minority or helping someone who has suffered traumatic traumatic brain injury or is suffering from addiction. And we know that there are athletes that suffer from addiction. They have the NFL provides them with many tools in order to fight these things, and yet many players do not because they know that they're going to get another chance. Whereas the common man may not get that second chance, even though he has not egregiously done as the player's done. The same thing with domestic violence. You know, guys being tolerated for having committed violence against a woman and given it a second chance. To me, why, maybe the circumstances dictate that, but these owners giving guys like Greg Hardy another chance when it's so clear that he paid off and intimidated the gal that he violated. I think we need to take a closer look at the kind of people that we have running these different organizations. I don't believe that someone like Roger Goodell has the best interests of the fans, just as I don't believe that any of the presidential candidates have the best interest of the citizens. People out and people think that they've earned this position. No, they give these people positions so they can push the agendas that they have. That's the way of the world today. It's who you know, what you're willing to do for that person you know to push your agenda. I think it's a sad statement that this goes on in local governments as well as sports organizations. The guys like Bud Selig owning a team and being commissioner of baseball. Come on. There's not a single fan that thought, I don't care what kind of person Bud is, if you know him, it doesn't go to the integrity of the game. And the integrity of the game suffered during his watch. He created more money for the franchises, but what did he do for baseball? There were plenty of gaffes during his time as commissioner, major ones. And Gary Bettman in the NHL, same thing. He recently came out saying that he doesn't believe in CTE, even though there is medical proof that brain damage did happen with players who play. Now he is trying to eliminate fighting from the game, but there are hits that go to the head with the unforgiving wards and glass that are on the ice where guys have lost their careers not due to fighting but due to hits and taking head blows. So, stop being a lawyer and start thinking about the greater good of the sport and grow the sport, which the NHL has never done. I'm prejudiced. I love the sport. I think it's more exciting than any other three major sports. The athletes are more down to earth and they interact with the fans more than the other sports. Maybe it's because they're paid less, or maybe it's because they come from more common ground, like the fans, and they don't get caught up in the money. They realize they're after one thing. They want their name on the cup, and I, you know, I think the other sports, the players are so out of touch with the fans, just the owners and other people involved in the sports. They take the fans for granted by pushing these agendas that the sports leagues want. And to me, I think that really the world has to take the world in the U.S. needs to take a better look at itself, take a closer look at the way sports leagues are run. I believe that they are run a lot like the political parties are. They are not interested in doing anything for the fans. They're more interested in their pocketbook, despite different things they do. And to me, it's a sad statement when teams start running a successful organization once they have the fan base, then they forget what brought them to them, and they start. Yeah, they build new stadiums. They charge outrageous prices for seats. Concessions are not in line with what the common man makes. They're pricing people out of sports. You used to be able to go to a ball game here in Detroit for $2 up in the bleachers. And I understand that was some years ago, but now just a seat costs $20. The rate of pay has not gone up with what they're charging for the seats. So what a person is earning is not equal to what the seats are, and then on top of that, having the outrageous prices that are charged for alcohol, soft drinks, concessions. Yeah, they're making money hand over fist, but they're not reinvesting it into the team a lot of times. You see the same teams winning all the time in the big markets because that's what gets eyeballs on TV. And instead of just letting drafts go as they will and players staying where they will, they open up the free agency and allows teams from bigger markets to be able to acquire quality players on dirt cheap. And teams that in my youth used to be able to build, like the Oakland A's, 3-time world champions in the 70s. Cincinnati Reds, back world champions. And neither of those teams have really had the sustained success that they had back then. And I understand the world changes. But in the NBA, there have been maybe 5 or 6 teams in the last 40 years that won titles. You have LA, Boston, Detroit, Houston, Chicago, Golden State, San Antonio. Okay, that's 7. And you find anything in between those 7 since the 80s that I haven't mentioned. To me, you've got approximately 30 teams in the NBA, and 23 of them have nothing to show for it, and there's many of them that go into the draft lottery. And I know there's a lot of other reasons for that, but sports is supposed to be about competition. If you only have 7 teams that compete for a title and you've got 30 leagues, all these people that own these other teams are doing are just putting money in their pocket. That's what I see. And there have been a few teams that have come close. I did leave out Dallas. I think that's the only team I left out in the last 40 years that's won the title besides the ones I mentioned. But to me, sports has become a scam. It's become a way to make money without actually having to provide a payoff for fans. And it's all a scam in my mind. I become disillusioned about sports because I see and hear things that are going on um, behind the scenes, and I will always be a diehard Red Wings fan, but I believe there is going to be a transition with that team. It's been coming, and they're not going after players. They are not drafting. They are going into a lull, and maybe sometime before they are good again. And the Detroit Lions have been one of those teams that have been in the gutter for 6 years. Yeah, they made the playoffs sometimes, and they actually made it to the NFC title game once in my lifetime. Actually, twice. But what I see is there are a lot of teams. There's at least 30 in every league, and only a few are winning titles. So I've come to the realization that it is a money to defraud. It is a way to defraud people their money going to see these games that people are addicted because they they grew up playing the games. They want to, they want to see their team, and it's evolved in the last 30 or 40 years where it doesn't matter. Certain markets, LA, Boston, New York, Miami, the Texas area, those are the markets they care about. Outside of that, no, California, that, you know, it's a scam with your money. And my opinion, yeah, but I think that people need to take a closer look at what these sports leagues are doing and how they're separating us from our money and they're distracting us from all the mismanagement the government is doing within the cities, states, and DC in not providing services they should be. They're enriching themselves and doing nothing for the people they're supposed to serve. It's my opinion.